TNCRadio.LIVE, your commercial driver navigation station.
Good afternoon. This is TNCRadio.LIVE, and this is the Truckers Network Radio Show with your host, Shelley Johnson.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Yes, this is the Truckers Network Radio Show on TNCRadio.LIVE, where we offer the entertainment, sports, weather, traffic, and news that commercial drivers want to hear. You know, every so often, some drivers can run into some difficult times, and they can find it hard to make ends meet. There are organizations out there to help, and one of them is Meals for 18 Wheels, which offers short-term assistance with food for our drivers out there. With us today is Chris Hamilton with Meals for 18 Wheels. Welcome, Chris. I appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're a driver. Our drivers would probably want to hear what you do and how your organization began and what it does.
All right. The organization began in November of 2013. And like you stated, it just, over the holidays, you know, a lot of drivers are stuck out on the road, and some of the truck stops in different areas are closed down so the workers can be with their families, which puts a hurt on drivers, even if they are in good standings financially, because they don't have a way to get a meal. And that's basically how Meals for 18 Wheels started, was basically a holiday thing. So drivers out on the road would stand a better chance of having, you know, a hot meal for the holidays and everything. And then it's just progressed till today that, you know, when a driver's in need, they contact the page. We get certain information from them, which the majority of the information is left private. That's just for our use only. And we put up a post and on Facebook, and, you know, if there's a volunteer that can help in whatever way, they contact us, and then we put the two together.
That's awesome. What, were you the one that started the organization?
No, ma'am. No, I was not. I've only been with them for, I believe, about 2 years now.
Okay.
Or something like that. I was in a hard spot myself, and I got help a couple of times, and then I started out after that volunteering, and then the page got a little bit busier and asked if I could help out, and now I'm working behind the scenes.
That's awesome. So how does this all work? They're volunteers from across the country. How does it all get coordinated?
Well, Facebook is, you know, worldwide, and we do have people from Canada on our page as well. And it's just basically an open page. You know, a driver needs help, they message the page. There's like, don't quote me on this, but I believe there's like 4 or 5 admins of the page, and it's just whoever's available to answer the messages at that particular time is who puts up the post and everything. Driver answers a set series of questions, you know, just normal stuff. Where you at? You got food allergies, phone number to be contacted, what's the situation? And then we put up a post, and then if a volunteer is in the area, or, you know, another person can send money or whatever to the person to help them out. If they're in an area that the money can be used, then the person will message us, and then we'll put the two people in touch with each other, and then they just let us know when it's done so we can put up that the driver has been helped.
That's awesome. Now, do you also deliver meals, or is it basically sending the driver money so that they could purchase a meal somewhere?
Well, see, that's what I was saying about whatever means. Some volunteers are just happen to be like right down the road or within the vicinity of the person needing help, and sometimes they'll get a food delivered to them, or the volunteer will come and actually take them somewhere to eat, because some volunteers are drivers and some volunteers are friends and family of drivers, or just people that like to say thank you to drivers. And this is one of the many ways that they can do that, is by watching our page for different posts. And if somebody's needing help in the area, well, by all means.
That's wonderful. So how many drivers? I would imagine you've helped people all over the U.S. and Canada then.
Yes, ma'am. As far as numbers, that's so hard for me to say, because sometimes, we're doing, a driver a day or two drivers a day, or sometimes, we could go a week or two without it helping a driver. And either way, it's good for us because, we're able to help the drivers that need the help. And then at the same time, when there's no drivers to help, that's still good, because that lets us know that, everybody's doing all right. And
Sure.
Generally, we help everybody 2 to 3 times in a 6-month period. And then after that, it's cut until the next 6 months. And that's just because we are, like you stated earlier, a very temporary means of help due to a bad situation.
Now, for drivers that do need more of a longer term bit of help, do you refer them at all?
We talk to them, and we the best we can do is like make suggestions to them, like a food bank, or try to talk to their company or something, or we find out where they are, and then we try to look up a couple of numbers for them to call, and maybe a church or something in the area is willing to help out with goods that can be kept a while, because a lot of it is also not everybody has a refrigerator in their truck.
Right.
And for the people that get in a bad spot financially, it's especially difficult, because sometimes, they've already depleted the supply of goods that they had on their truck before they get a hold of us.
Right.
So, we try to help as much as we can. And one of the few things that we try to make sure of, that it is a driver that is actually out on the road and not like at home. Because obviously if the person's at home, the chances of them getting a hold of a food bank or something are much greater to be able to help them. And then we at least attempt to try to talk to them and try to help them collect a few numbers to get a hold of, to try to help them while they're at home. We are primarily for the drivers that are out on the road, even
Sure.
if they're just like, say, stuck in an area that, doesn't deliver food, or they're broke down out in the middle of nowhere. That's how we try to help people.
And that's a wonderful resource. It's got to be awfully scary to be out in the middle of nowhere and be hungry, not have a dime to your name, and you're hungry. You need to at least be able to eat. So what you're doing is a wonderful service.
Yeah, I mean, we do try. I mean, we're not always successful. Sometimes it may take a day or two. Sometimes, it may take 5 minutes. We've had a few cases where, somebody was at the same truck stop, like 3 trucks over. And we get a message, yeah, I'm talking to them right now. They were 3 trucks down. It's like, oh, well, how about that? But I mean, sometimes it does take a little bit. So
Sure.
It's really hit and miss because we are truly 100% volunteer base.
Right. But what people are doing by volunteering, it's a wonderful service for drivers, because this can happen to anybody, and you can't go without food. That's for sure. We're talking with Chris Hamilton with Meals for 18 Wheels. This is the Truckers Network radio show. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly. Stay tuned for more. We're going to be coming back. Stay tuned on TNCRadio.LIVE. Eating right and eating healthy are two of the toughest challenges truckers face. Sometimes the only way to eat right is to bring food along for the ride. As a professional truck driver, you know that space is limited in your truck cab. Living on the road with limited storage space means you have to get creative on how you store your personal belongings. Drivers will spend weeks away from home, so their semi-truck becomes their home away from home. Truck drivers are pros at making the road feel like home, and stocking up on food is one of the ways they make it feel more like home. With a number of unhealthy food options on the road, drivers need to pack healthier foods and snacks. Food storage is essential to keep your truck clean and organized. It also helps you easily see what foods you have with you on the road. Keep listening to learn some storage ideas for long-haul truck drivers. An electric cooler. An electric cooler is a great way to store perishable items in your truck. They're lightweight and large enough to store and cool down several drinks and snacks. They're also a great alternative to mini fridges. Canned foods. Canned foods are great for truckers because they require little or no preparation. They're also extremely cheap. You may want to consider buying a food warmer if you prefer a hot meal. When storing cans in your truck, we suggest putting them into a container and placing them under the lower bunk. This limits the cans rolling around in your truck while you're driving. Storage containers. Storage containers will be a trucker's best friend when you're on the road. Drawers and storage containers are great for storing clothes, toiletries, and food. 3-drawer storage containers make it easy to organize and store your favorite foods or drinks. Baskets. Baskets allow you to find the food you need quickly and easily. We recommend using clear baskets so you can easily see what's in the baskets. You'll need to secure the baskets so they don't move around while you're driving. Buy some bungee cords to keep your baskets secure in the bunk or cabinets. If you want more information on proper storage and food storage ideas, check out the Truckers Network blog, 5 helpful organization tips for truck drivers.
Highway heroes, 18 wheels, keep moving on as the world stands still. Waco 19, you got the Rolling Stone, truck on, truck on.
TNCRadio.LIVE wants to make sure you purchase a copy of John Schneider's new album, Truck On, that features great songs like Born at a Truck Stop, Truck On, Stand On It, and Cowboys Don't Get Old. John Schneider rocks the life of a trucker in this album. The lyrics are clever, the music is great, and his vocals are his usual best. What's even better is a portion of the proceeds from the Truck On album will benefit St. Christopher Truckers Relief Fund, which helps truckers and their families in their time of need. Get the Truck On album at johnschneiderstudios.com or on Amazon. We'll feature a link on TNCRadio.LIVE. Truckers and St. Christopher Truckers Relief Fund will thank you. This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly. Today we're speaking with Chris Hamilton with Meals for 18 Wheels. I love what your organization is doing, Chris. And you said everyone's a volunteer as well as a commercial driver. You were talking a little bit about your background. What do you drive? And you said it sounds like this organization is kind of near and dear to your heart. I mean, what it's doing to help drivers.
Yes. All the people that operate the page, are drivers or spouses of drivers or have been drivers before. Nobody gets paid in any way, shape, or form other than a thank you and people being grateful that we're doing this. And, that's all we ask, from people is a simple thank you and letting us know that our service is appreciated, because that's what we're here for, is to help other people. I'm a current driver myself, and I've been in a spot before and needed help, and this page was an absolute godsend during that time. So now I help people by being a behind-the-scenes person, part of the page.
That's wonderful. How did you find out about the page? Was it another driver that told you, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I was in another truckers group, just one of the many trucker groups, and I was asking if anybody knew of a place to help me, and somebody suggested the page. I messaged the page and answered a few of their questions, and saw them put up the post fairly quickly. I mean, we do work just like everybody else, so, sometimes it does take a few minutes for us to respond or to put up the post, or sometimes it's instant. It just depends, luck of the draw, on what everybody's doing.
Right.
Sure. And drivers don't always know their schedules. It depends on your deliveries and everything else. So.
Sure.
Yes.
And of course, Mother Nature, depending on the weather.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Oh, the big hurricane that hit down there in Texas a little while back. I mean, we tried the best we could to facilitate everybody that was needing help, and that was so difficult. I mean, we truly spent, all of us, a lot of time trying to be a little bit more proactive and try to call around different places, trying to let other local organizations know that, hey, the truck stops are being forgot about, and explained who we were and the different areas that we knew that people was needing help that were essentially being forgotten about. And we got word that, few of the places just had just regular people that lived in the area came in with pre-made little snack meals, for all the drivers that were stuck down there. And that helped out a lot.
Good.
It really would.
Yeah, I was wondering, and then the question went right out of my head. Oh, it's back again. How do you get the word out? Are people, do enough people, like you were saying, you just kind of came across this? Are you still looking to get busier?
We're on Facebook, and it's Meals for 18 Wheels, and 18 is the numbers, and then the capital M, capital F, and capital W with the @ symbol at the beginning, and that will get you directly to us on Facebook. Currently, I'm not aware of us having another platform. Okay. So, yes, essentially it is, us doing the interviews with various people and just word of mouth. We've gotten a lot of volunteers and a lot of people referred to us from other truck pages, just because they said, hey, anybody in the area that can help me out, and then instantly they're told about us, because in the driver community, you could pretty much probably bet that more than 75% of the people know of us or heard the name before, and that just makes us feel wonderful that we're getting known for how we operate and for how we deal with every individual's situation as its own situation, like it's never happened before.
Excellent.
Did 2020 present some challenges? I would imagine there were so many drivers that couldn't go into restaurants and various other things. It varied state by state with shutdowns. And
I'm going to try to stay on topic here because...
No, it's okay. You can say
it. No, I'm not going to talk about that part. But, yeah, 2020 was definitely difficult because everybody was scared. Nobody wanted to interact with anybody. Yeah. But, it comes down to a person needs food.
Absolutely.
And like you stated before, everybody's got to eat. And, it sometimes did take longer than what anybody wanted. But for the large majority, everybody was very understanding when it took a little bit. Sometimes they would move and then we'd have to, figure out where they were going to be at, when they were going to be at. And they would let us know, hey, we're moving. We're going to be over here during this time. And then we would redo the post to state such. So, 2020 was very, very trying with everything that was going on.
I would imagine you had a lot more requests.
Yes, and that's due to, like you said, everything just being shut down and nobody being open, or like Walmart, for example, still is not 24 hours, which still puts a hurt to a lot of drivers because some of us, our schedules are nights. And then those drivers are left high and dry because there's hardly any places open at night.
To get food, sure, when they have the time to stock up and everything. I didn't realize Walmart wasn't 24/7. That's interesting.
Yep. They changed their hours during the height of the lockdowns.
Okay.
And I think it's pretty much like 6 or 7 to like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock from what I've seen.
That would be
for
severe
Walmart.
limiting.
So,
yeah.
And I remember when I was over the road, I'm more of considered a local driver now, but when I was over the road, I would be stopping at Walmart in the middle of the night to restock and do my little break and then continue on down the road.
Sure.
And there towards the end, it was even difficult for me because a lot of my driving was at night.
And I don't think a lot of people thought about that. The drivers were still delivering supplies, making, the country roll. But then they're out there and they can't get food. That's been one of my big beefs. And we've discussed it quite a bit on the station too, because it just hasn't been fair to drivers. And it would present a huge challenge for an organization like yours. Everybody's reaching out to you that probably wouldn't be, but they have to eat.
Yes, 2020 was very, very busy for us. And a lot of that was due to the lockdown. But whether we're busy or slow, we're always looking at the page. We're just waiting to get the notification that there's a message. And, depending on time of day, what we are doing, depends on how long it takes for us to respond.
Sure.
But once you start messaging the page, please do not just stop messaging us if we're in the middle of a dialogue, because that kind of makes it a little bit harder for us, because then we think you've gotten busy and then we go back to doing our thing and then you're left in limbo.
That's good for drivers to know, certainly. I think what you're doing is just phenomenal. because people I said before, you can't go without food. We're speaking with Chris Hamilton from Meals for 18 Wheels here on TNCRadio.live. This is the Truckers Network radio show. We're going to be back with more coming up, so please stay tuned.
This info blog on TNCRadio.live is brought to you by the Truckers Network at app.thetruckersnetwork.net. 4 things truck drivers need to know about motor truck cargo insurance. Motor truck cargo legal liability insurance, also referred to as cargo insurance, covers the loss or damage to the freight you're hauling. When hauling cargo, there's always a risk that it could be damaged or stolen. While there are no legal requirements to have cargo insurance, it is highly recommended to better protect yourself and the goods you're hauling. What is cargo insurance? Cargo insurance protects you from financial loss if the freight you're hauling gets damaged or lost. In the event of an accident, cargo insurance pays for the amount you're insured for only if the event is covered. Cargo damage resulting from collision, accidents, fire, and spoilage are examples of covered events in most cargo policies. Benefits of cargo insurance. When hauling cargo, someone's paying you to safely deliver someone's assets from point A to point B. The main benefit of motor truck cargo insurance is that you reduce financial loss if the cargo you're hauling gets damaged. Also, purchasing cargo insurance gives you a peace of mind knowing that you're covered if your cargo gets damaged. How is cargo premium determined? The motor truck cargo rate depends on the type of cargo you're hauling. The classifications include dry van freight, flatbed freight, refrigerated freight or reefer, autos, household goods mover, and hazmat. As there are many different cargo classifications for a motor carrier, discuss with your agent the type of freight you intend on hauling. Insurance carriers generally classify motor carriers with the highest commodities hauled. So even if you only intend to haul autos 5% of the time and 95% of the time flatbed freight, your premium will be based on an auto hauler. This is why it's so important to talk with your agent about everything you'll be hauling. This ensures that the policy is written the correct way and excludes nothing that you intend to haul. Nobody wants to be stuck with a cargo claim commodity that's not covered under their policy. Please note that the coverages, limits, and explanations of coverages mentioned here can differ with every motor truck cargo policy, depending on the type of cargo hauled and carrier requirements. Please discuss what is included and what can be added on or endorsed to your policy or quote with your current agent. What limits are you required to carry? There are many factors that determine the cargo limit a motor carrier should carry. Unlike commercial auto liability, generally the shipper who owns the freight will provide you with a minimum limit required to haul a load for them, not the federal government. The standard limit of cargo insurance for general freight is $100,000, but this limit can differ. For example, if a carrier is an auto hauler, his cargo limit could be anywhere from $150,000 to $1 million depending on the number of autos hauled and the auto's conditions. This info blog was brought to you by the Truckers Network at app.thetruckersnetwork.net.
Want to advertise on TNCRadio.live? Take advantage of great discounts for 2021. Check out the sponsors page at TNCRadio.live or send an email to info@TNCRadio.live. This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.live. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly. We're talking with Chris Hamilton with Meals for 18 Wheels. It's an organization that helps out drivers with meals when they need it. I love what you're doing. What are your current needs, Chris? Do you know, I would imagine that you can always maybe use some donations and maybe even some more volunteers because people can't volunteer all the time and you guys are drivers. So,
yes, absolutely. I mean, since this whole page is nothing but volunteer based, 100%, I mean, we would love for anybody and everybody to volunteer. I mean, even if it's just every once in a blue moon, I mean, because, you know, you never know, that once in a blue moon may make the difference to somebody, to the point that, you know, when they're up and going again, that they become a volunteer. as far as donations, we do have a way for you to donate, and you would have to message the page in order to be able to get that information. But we do have a way to donate. Currently, we're trying to get that running a little bit more smoother. But we do have something in place for donations for the page. So
what's the most remote area that you folks have had to deliver food? Because I imagine drivers are all over the place. And like you said, you help people out in Canada as well as the U.S. That's a lot of territory.
Oh, goodness. There's so many to choose from. One that sticks out to me was there was actually somebody broke down on the shoulder, and it was out in the middle of nowhere, and I think they said that they'd only seen a couple of cars pass in the last hour. And as it would be, we just happened to have a driver that was watching the page, and they were actually on that particular stretch of road and was able to help the driver.
Wow.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in the city or out in the boonies. I mean, you never know when somebody in your area is going to be in your area to receive help. I mean, even then, I mean, you can send money to the driver or order food for the driver. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a face-to-face meeting. You know, with that being said, you know, we try our best to collect information from the person needing help to help ensure the safety of all the volunteers should they choose to bring food. And then ultimately it's up to the volunteer whether, you know, they feel safe or not once they get to said location.
Sure. I imagine you've had some really touching stories too that the groups talked about where people were really, really in a jam and you made all the difference. You know, sometimes just having that human contact is exactly what somebody needs.
Yes. I mean, we, especially over the holidays, there's been a few drivers that's been invited into other people's homes to have meals with their family. And it's been especially nice for those people that don't have families of their own for whatever reasons, or, you know, they're just a single person and, you know, truck stops were already closed up, you know. So, I mean, we've had people, you know, just send us a million messages saying thank you for what we do. And that's pretty much all we really like to make us feel good, because we know that, you know, everybody's enjoying our service. I mean, we, at the same time, we hate that we do the service, to the fact that we've really realized how many people, you know, are down and out.
Yeah.
But it makes us feel good to be able to be here to help those people at the same time. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword for us.
Sure.
But we try to look at the positive of it all.
Well, I think what you're doing is pretty phenomenal, because you said at one point you needed the service from the organization, and now you're giving back. Have you been really surprised at how many drivers really do need your service? I mean, was that kind of an eye-opener for you?
A little bit, yes. I mean, I knew that I wasn't the only driver, because the situation I was in, it was a new company and everything, and I was already in a little bit of a financial bad spot to begin with, which is why I went to a new company. So, I mean, I wasn't too surprised, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, wow, okay, I don't feel so bad for asking for the help that I did, because there is actually, a lot of people for many various different reasons. Another thing is if you're needing help out on the road, don't be afraid to ask, because we ain't going to judge you. We ain't going to trash talk on you. I mean, we are here for the drivers.
That's one of the questions I was kind of trying to get to a little bit earlier was, drivers are really good at some things, but asking for help is not one of them. So I think, is it difficult at times to get these guys to understand that we've all been there? If we haven't been there, it's only by the grace of God, and we could be there tomorrow. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
Exactly. I mean, I know for me, when I first asked the page for help, I mean, it was real difficult for me. And I don't ask for help in general. I'm a rather proud person myself. But, don't be afraid to ask. I mean, we ain't going to talk bad about you, even privately. I mean, we are truly here to try to get other drivers in a bad spot help with food.
Well, and when you think about it, food on the road, especially if places like Walmart are not open, food on the road's expensive. And if that's not something that drivers have anticipated, especially like with 2020, that came as a shock to everybody. An organization like yours can provide some short-term assistance, maybe from, they might just be short of a little money until their next paycheck. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, and there's been even times that, drivers have had enough money for food, but have been in a spot that they can't get nobody to come get them. So, I mean, we've even had a few instances that, a volunteer's been able to arrange it to where either they gave them a ride or a family member or somebody that they trust to come give them a ride to a close place to get food, whether it been a Walmart or another supermarket or, just a fast food place for the meal for the day, So, I mean, volunteers provide help in many different ways.
Sure they do. And that's the thing. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, you need food. You can't always park a big rig. There are places where there could be food, but you can't go there. So it's a logistical thing. And just having somebody who can say, hey, hop in, I'll drive you over there. That's a huge help.
Well, I mean, you can park a truck anywhere, but I mean, it's what Johnny Law says. So,
right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because there's been several instances where, people have went into Walmart to do some shopping and come out and they have a boot on their truck.
Ugh.
And it's just like, it's like, really? I mean, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, sometimes you shouldn't park a truck in different places, and that does create even more issues.
Right.
Because then the driver has to figure out how to get to where the food is and back to the truck.
Exactly. They could park the truck somewhere, but not necessarily where they're supposed to park it. And then they run into other hassles, like you said, somebody putting a boot on it, which frankly, that's just downright stinky. But there's stinky people out there, unfortunately. We're talking with Chris Hamilton with Meals for 18 Wheels. This is a wonderful organization, and I definitely want to talk some more about what people can do to help, because drivers need to eat. Everybody does. You're listening to TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson. We'll be back with more coming up.
This blog on TNC Radio is brought to you by the Truckers Network at app.thetruckersnetwork.net. The 5 best truck stops in America. Truck drivers spend days, sometimes weeks, out on the road. Sometimes taking a break at a nice truck stop's a great way to relax and take your mind off driving. There are many truck stops across the United States, but we listed the 5 best truck stops that every trucker needs to stop and experience. Little America, Wyoming. The Little America Truck Stop is located in Little America, Wyoming. It's a mini-chain truck stop with several locations throughout the country for truckers to enjoy. Little America offers a wide variety of services to truck drivers. Some of the services include service truck roadside repair, tire repair, new tires, wheel seals, oil changes, water pumps, brakes, courtesy property shuttle, AC repairs, belts, DOT inspections, and trailer tarp installation. Iowa 80, Walcott, Iowa. Iowa 80 is a place where truckers want to stop. It's the world's largest truck stop, and it's filled with tons of activities and tourist attractions. Truck drivers can stop and enjoy a nice meal, watch a movie, or stop by the trucking museum. Iowa 80 also has a full range of truck services and amenities. Some of the services and amenities include cat scale, chiropractor, convenience store, interstate dental, dog-a-mat, fuel center, laundry facility, library, travel service center, truck-a-mat, and a workout room. South of the border, Hammers, South Carolina. Pedro's Truck Stop, also known as Porky's, located in Hammers, South Carolina, is a world-famous roadside attraction for tourists and truck drivers. Pedro's filled with many different activities, unique foods and shopping. It also offers truck drivers supplies, showers, a trucker's lounge, and 24/7 fresh hot coffee. Trails Travel Center, Albert Lee, Minnesota. Trails Travel Center is everything a truck driver needs and amazing food. Some of the Trails Travel Center's food options are a tavern, Cold Stone Creamery, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and McDonald's. Truckers can also stop and shop heavy-duty truck parts or chrome parts. Trails Travel Center also has a truck service that offers drivers wash services, tire services, wheel alignments, and suspension repair. Jubit's, Portland, Oregon. Jubit's is a family-owned truck stop and boasts of being the world's classiest truck stop. They were also recently named the second-best rest stop in America. Drivers can enjoy a 24-hour full-service Cascade Grill restaurant, a 100-room hotel, movie theater, barber shop, and more. Jubit's also has a truck service center and is committed to providing truck drivers the best tires, truck maintenance, and truck repair. Some of their services include engine diagnostics, oil change, DOT inspection, glass replacement, metal fabrication, welding, tires, tire service, and airbags, plus brake service, truck trailer alignment, shock absorbers, air conditioning maintenance, electrical diagnostics, battery service, suspension repair, electronic logging devices, lubricant service, APU installation, and service. This infoblog was brought to you by the Truckers Network at app.thetruckersnetwork.net.
Hey, what's up? This is Logan Mize, and you are listening to TNCRadio.LIVE.
This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly, and we're talking with Chris Hamilton with Meals for 18 Wheels. It's an organization that helps drivers with meals when they need it, when they're down on their luck or when they're out in the middle of nowhere and they just need a meal. They may have the money, but they don't have a way to get the food, and this is super, super important. Chris, do you know, with all the challenges, last year with the shutdowns, you also said you had some people, drivers who had challenges with the hurricanes and bad weather. What would you say some of the biggest challenges your organization has had?
I guess the biggest issue that we face is, depending on the area, sometimes there's just nobody in the area, or just one of the odd times that everybody's busy and nobody's seen the post yet.
Sure.
Or like there is a weather event and like absolutely everybody's resources are going towards that weather event or natural disaster in some way, and
right.
We try not to leave anybody behind that needs help.
Right.
So those times we do use the monetary donations that are sent to us during those times where, you know, absolutely everything else has failed. So, I mean, there is a way for a driver to get help, but sometimes it just takes a little bit of time.
Sure. Well, and you can't be everything to everybody. I mean, you get limited by manpower, and especially if you've got a natural disaster or something complicating the situation, that's got to really create challenges for your drivers, because you guys work and you have things you have to deal with too. So,
yes, I mean, like me currently, I'm actually at work right now. I'm just fortunate enough that they decided to work on my truck right now. So, I mean, you know, all the admins that are behind the scenes operating the Facebook page, Meals for 18 Wheels. Mm-hmm. We are active drivers. We have our own stuff that we deal with day to day.
Sure.
Some of us are on the road, some of us are local, you know, or we have other things going on that won't allow us to help. And during those times, we just ask that everybody be patient. You'll get a response just as soon as somebody's available.
Sure. So, let me see here. The best way then is for people to reach out to you on Facebook. And what is the Facebook title? It's Meals for 18 Wheels. Somebody could type that in on Facebook, correct? Just to find your organization.
Yes, and it's Meals for the number 18 Wheels all together, capital M, capital F, and capital W. And you'll know that it's us because of the large amount of people associated with the group.
Yeah, I didn't see how many members you have, but you have quite a few.
Yes. Let's see here. See if I can, well, it just pulls it up directly for me. But, yeah, we do have a large number, but we want that number to increase to everybody.
And I'd like to get some people really enthused and wanting to help out, you know, as volunteers, because the more the merrier. Manpower is what makes this work. And especially if you've got people in different geographic areas. Are there particular states where you need more volunteers, or places in Canada?
I mean, Canada especially. But I mean, since this is just pure volunteer basis, I mean, as I stated earlier, it doesn't matter if you're in a big city, small town, or your closest neighbor's 5 miles away. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you can get internet or cell service, absolutely be a volunteer. I mean, it'll make you feel good. It'll help somebody else out. And it really doesn't matter your location. I mean, you can help anybody anywhere with technology nowadays. Okay.
So Meals for 18 Wheels could use some volunteers. Definitely, if you feel inspired to do so, they could definitely use some more drivers and donations. Feel free, please, to reach out to them with donations as well, because it takes money to do these things too. And Chris, I really appreciate your time. Yeah, did you have something to say, Tom?
I was just saying, and information's available on our website under the Special Interest blog spot. So
excellent.
You can check us out. Check it out there.
Thank you so much, Chris. We've been talking with Chris Hamilton from Meals for 18 Wheels. Great organization that's helping drivers out there get a warm meal, which is something that everybody needs. You're listening to TNCRadio.LIVE. Stay tuned for more coming up.
Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. For more information regarding our podcast, reuse, copyrights, etc., please visit our website, www.tncradio.live.